Serverless web architecture. It is the type of web architecture wherein there are no explicit servers being managed and instead events based on user actions trigger standalone API functions to directly communicate with the database or perform a backend task. The structure of a serverless web application is quite similar to a normal one except for the fact that there is one modification of the absence of the server.
Mind you, I'm not there anymore.
At the core of serverless web applications are functions as a service or FaaS. These functions are small, single-purpose pieces of code which are executed in response to events such as an HTTP request. Each function is responsible for a specific task, such as processing user input or querying a database. These functions are stored in a function repository, which is usually provided by a cloud provider. This repository can be accessed through a command line interface or a graphical user interface. The next component in the structure is the API gateway. This is a service that enables you to create RESTful APIs that can be invoked by the functions. The API gateway acts as a front-end for the functions, routing requests to the appropriate function and returning responses to the client. The API gateway can also be configured to provide security measures such as authentication and authorization.
Permission granted, authenticate.
The next component in the structure is the data store. In a serverless architecture, data is usually stored in a database that is also provided by the cloud provider. These databases are designed to be highly scalable and offer high performance read and write operations. Examples of these databases include DynamoDB by AWS and Cosmos DB by Azure. Another important component in the structure of a serverless web application is the event queue. This is a service that enables functions to communicate with each other asynchronously. When a function completes its task, it can publish an event to the queue, which triggers another function to execute. Finally, we have the front end. This is the user-facing part of the application and can be built using any front-end technology such as React or Angular. The front end communicates with the backend through the API gateway. In summary, a serverless web application consists of functions as a service, an API gateway, a data store, an event queue, and a front end. With this architecture, you can build highly scalable and cost-effective web applications without having to manage servers. The main advantage of using serverless web applications is that there are standalone functions which do not require a single centralized server to be running. If one of the functions contain bugs or errors, only that function can be taken down, fixed, and brought back up, while all the other functions are still intact and running. The downside is that these serverless functions incur more costs based on huge traffic as compared to centralized web servers that can be hosted alone instead of tens of hundreds of functions. And that is all you need to know to get started with serverless web applications. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please do let us know in the comments down below. Please do follow us on our Instagrams. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in our next video.